Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for another CCS Alumni Live. Today we are going to be speaking with an amazing illustration graduate from CCS. Her name is Maria Filar. And so I am going to let a few folks join the live and introduce our guests before we get started, okay? So today we're going to be speaking with Maria Filar. She graduated from CCS in 2009 with her degree in illustration. And she is now the founder of, and I see she just joined the live. Welcome. I'm doing an intro, then I'll add you right in. So she, as the founder of Five Eye Studio, is a professional fashion and beauty focused illustrator specializing in portraits and hand lettering, beautiful, amazing hand lettering. And through her work, she explores themes of mental health, self-care, and social political issues. Maria's main focus is on furthering the conversation on mental health, self-confidence, sustainability, and ethical responsibility. She hopes her work inspires others and brings comfort to those feeling like they're alone in their struggles. You're not, and she's clearly sharing the great messages through her work. She has extensive past experience working as a designer and illustrator for a major retailer, creating patterns and artwork for products in the gift and stationery market. And now she's just living up life with her amazing cats. And I'm going to add her to the live. Yay, Maria, indeed. I see someone said yay, Maria. Hello!
How are you?
Oh my gosh, you look exactly the same.
I have a look.
There's some CCS alumni out there who have the Fountain of Youth secret, and you are hogging it.
Listen, this is the first time I've worn makeup in weeks. So.
I mean, we are in quarantine, so
yeah,
understandable. No one's
look at my cat wants to join. Hey,
which cat?
Be in the video. This is Zoe. She is 1/5 of Five Eye.
She's the reason that it's 5 and not 6, I see.
Yeah.
Hi, cutie. Oh. So let's start off with talking about Five Eye. What inspired you to start this this company?
As you mentioned, I started my career in the gift and stationery world, and I left in 2018. She's going to get in front of the camera. And I just wanted to kind of go out on my own. And after, 8 or 9 years of working for somebody else that was making money off of my designs, I kind of was at a point where I wanted to do it myself. Mm-hmm. So last summer, I just opened a threadless shop based off of a design that was based off of this inside joke in Chicago about an alligator that someone dumped in a lagoon in one of the parks. Very irresponsible, but it was like a 2-week long news story of them trying to catch this alligator, and they named him Chance the Snapper. And so I was like, I have to capitalize on this. So I made a design, and then I put it up on my Threadless, and I just kind of kept going from there. But I kind of just wanted to make products that I would buy, because that's something working for a company. You can push back on things that they want you to do, but ultimately you don't have control. And there were things that I was asked to design that I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
So I basically just wanted to do whatever I want to do. So, and the name just came to me one day, and the logo just came to me, and I was like, that's it. Because I'm so bad at coming up with names. So
I feel like it's such a clever name, and the story is so cute.
Yeah, they're my helpers.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Five Eye, the name of the company is inspired by Maria's fur babies, the kitty cats.
Because my one cat has one eye, so between all of us, there's 5 eyes.
I love it. And so, how long have you been working for? You said since summer of last year.
Summer of 2018.
2018. Yeah. So it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, the first year was definitely a struggle. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was lucky enough to be to get some freelance work from a coworker I had when I worked in Ann Arbor. So it kind of was a gateway where I could relax a little bit on what I wanted to do. So it's been 2 years already, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, tell me this, in between moving from working for yourself and moving for companies, did you ever overlap where you were working on your own client work or doing freelance in between?
No.
No. So it was like a
Yeah.
pivot for you.
When I graduated CCS in 2009, I got my first job. It was an internship at this scrapbooking company in Ann Arbor called Colorbook, and I started that. They wanted me to start like the day after graduation, and I was like, I need to graduate first. So I hopped right into the industry and worked there for 3 years, and then I moved to Chicago in 2012 to work for Papersource, and then I was there until 2018. So these past 2 years has really been kind of the beginning of my career, because I honestly did not work on personal stuff the whole time. I worked for companies. So everything that I've built in the last year or two is like from scratch. It's like I never did personal stuff before. So I'm happy to finally enjoy doing art and finally finding like I have a voice after all this time. So it's a long process. It doesn't happen the same way for everybody.
Yeah, I know in several of these conversations we've had themes come up of people talking about getting tired sometimes of doing what they love because they're doing it for a client. So even though they, they're still glad that they're working in a creative industry, because they're not creating exactly what they want to create, sometimes they're burnt out when it comes time to do their personal work, 100%. But you get to do what you love, and it's the way that you live, right?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And your work is so amazing. So tell me this, Maria, because not only do you have like amazing talent, right? Like your skills are crazy and your lettering is just gorgeous. But you also do work with a purpose. Tell me what got you involved in doing work that speaks to mental health and social political issues.
Oh my gosh. She just needs to be near me at all times. I don't know exactly when it started. I think it really just started when I started to find my artistic voice more. I've always had all of these views and opinions, but I never knew how to kind of put them into like a physical state.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my gosh, I give up.
They're saying it's our studio too. We're hanging out in this interview.
What was the question? Was how did I get into? Mm-hmm. I think I just started making stuff that I needed to remind myself of, because a lot of the stuff that I illustrate, a lot of hand lettered stuff, a lot of, if you want to call inspirational quotes, but it all starts off as stuff that I'm trying to remind myself. And that's something that if I'm not showing clearly, I want to show clearly more. That just because I'm illustrating these things doesn't mean that I have it figured out and I know the answers. Like, these illustrations are just as much for me as a reminder as to anyone else that finds comfort in them. So yeah, I basically made stuff as reminders for myself, and
that's probably why they're so powerful, right? Because they're going to a inspired place back inside of you, right? And so they resonate with people who need to see those same messages.
Definitely.
I know I messaged you yesterday, but like as I typically share a few examples of alumni work before the interview, is like, I want to share your entire Instagram feed. Like I can't not. It's just so hard to choose a few pieces because so many of them are not only like visually appealing, but just they resonate so deeply on many levels. That's wonderful. So tell me this. I know that hand lettering is something that's very popular right now. Like it has a legacy, right? Calligraphy goes back centuries. But I know we talk oftentimes about how people stay inspired. How do you stay inspired to create, new texts, continue to do different types of forms of lettering? What inspires you?
The internet. That's a stupid answer.
It's not a stupid answer.
But,
I mean, that's what most of the things
there's
are
so
now.
many creative people out there, and actually, I've been really inspired lately by like 60s and 70s kind of retro style, which I find really hilarious because when I was a teenager, I thought anything from the 70s was disgusting, and now I'm like, ooh, I like it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there, you know, a lot of political movements started in the 60s, and like all the graphic posters and imagery from that time really inspires me. Yeah, and seeing other people's work.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you look at other type of graphic work, or do you look at different genres of work?
A little. I mean, I have the Pinterest board like everyone else, and I see things that inspire me. But for the most part, I kind of just start sketching and just see what happens and push myself. And here's another thing that I do want to talk about is like developing my current style has been 11 years in the making, because I have been so, like, I was one of those students where everything I did was so realistic no matter what I did. Like, I could not stylize my work. And 11 years later, I'm finally getting to that point. So in a way, I think it did take me not really looking at much other reference.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it takes, for different people, different things inspire them in art. That's why I love these conversations, because everybody's journey is so different. You know, some people, they came out of the womb and they had a style, and I'm like, how? You know, and then I personally still don't have a style, right, for my graphic work. So it's wonderful that it's wonderful too to hear that you have that technical skill if you needed to do something realistic.
Right.
But
well, that's why I was so successful at Papersource, because I could do anything, but I didn't really have my own voice, and now I finally feel like I do. So I mean, it's corny, but it really does take finding your passion to really want to work on stuff and get it to a place. P.S. Sorry for the leaf blower. Do I need to move? Is it really loud?
I feel like it's overshadowing your audio a little bit, but I can still hear you. Everybody who's tuning in live, let us know if you can still hear everything. So I have another, I'm just asking all the questions. For those who are tuning in, I want to make sure you know, if this is your first time checking out CCS Alumni Live, that if you have questions and you want to ask Maria your questions about illustration, about lettering, about working in industry or working for yourself, be sure to add those to the question box at the bottom of your Instagram screen, because we are going to make sure that she gets a chance to answer your questions live. So we talked a bit about your practice. We talked a bit about your industry experience. I want to move a little bit backwards and talk about your experience when you were at high school, when you were a much younger artist. Did you know exactly what you wanted to do when you grew up? Tell me a bit about your goals when you were younger.
I wanted to be a fashion designer until I started watching Project Runway, which came out shortly before. Did it come out before I started CCS? But I was like, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. Like, I like to draw, but I don't want to sew. So basically, I just kind of knew that I wanted to do something related to art, but I didn't really know what. And so I just figured I would figure that out when I got to school. And, you know, like, everything's changed so much, even, you know, since graduating. Instagram wasn't even a thing when I graduated, and I didn't even know about the like stationery and retail world. I didn't my professors didn't really ever talk about that as an option. I don't know if I had been in the graphic design department, if I would have known about it, but I fell into my internship by accident. So
Tell me about the accident. What happened?
Well, my best friend Jillian.
Oh yeah.
Told me about, I think she had wanted to intern there, but they didn't have a program, so she like talked to them about it, and so they created an internship program. But then she got an internship at Converse, so she was like, you should apply. And then so that's how I got in, and I didn't really know anything about it. and it ended up being the perfect fit for me because I my first semester I was in fine arts and I changed to illustration because I was like, I'm not conceptual. Like people are making these weird sculptures and stuff and I'm just like, I like to draw pretty things. So it was a perfect fit for me.
That's
So I think
awesome.
it's important to know that just because you have a certain major doesn't necessarily mean anything.
For sure. For
So,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I mean, I think the bigger thing is that art school, it generally helps you with like some creative skill sets and connection to other people who are working in a creative industry. I mean, I just think about examples like the department chair of entertainment arts now, Tim Flattery. He's a concept artist, but he majored in transportation design. Like people's paths are. I say as many people as there are that many creative paths, right? They all
Right.
come in all shapes and sizes. So it's really cool that you had an interest in drawing. You came in and changed your major while you were here. But then for your internship, it was something that another student created for themselves, and they had a different opportunity. You moved into that spot and found that was the best thing for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, well, tell me this: when you were in high school, since you had an interest in fashion, what kind of stuff were you drawing or working on? Did you have art classes in high school?
Oh yeah, senior year I think I took as many as they offered. Like at least half my day I was in the same art room. To be honest, high school isn't very clear because I kind of cut that out of my memory.
Understood.
I did the assignments. I drew. I didn't really have, like I said, my style has been 11 years in the making. So like I drew portraits and I drew stuff I was interested in about like my favorite movies and inside jokes with my friends, but I didn't really have like a specific thing that I liked to draw or work on. So
yeah. So with your style that you developed in your career, what would you say? And this is going to be a hard question. I'm just prefacing you. What would you say has been like your favorite thing to work on, or your favorite piece of work? Is there something that you just look at and you're like, that's me, like that's my absolute favorite thing that I've done?
for personal or for working for
Either.
too?
Either.
I
know it's hard.
I mean, I will say I can't name anything specifically, but so much of what I did at Papersource I was very proud of because like that's a huge company and a lot of people know about it and a lot of my designs were top sellers. So there was a pride just in that and knowing that my work was being seen by people everywhere. The whole like chalkboard lettering trend was very hot when I started and I did everything chalkboard for them. So like anything, I'm proud of that, but at the same time, I never want to see chalkboard lettering ever again in my entire life.
Where your hands just like chalky and pasty at the end of every
Oh no,
assignment?
I mean I did everything. Everything was done in pencil and then was scanned in and photoshopped to look like chalkboard. But I was the chalkboard person.
So have you ever been out in the world or looking at things in the store? You're like, I made that. Have you ever?
Oh, all the time.
That's so awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Okay, so a couple more questions from me. I tend to hog the interviews because I'm just as interested.
I mean, it's an interview.
This
You're here to talk to me. Ask away.
Yeah, I want to make sure if folks are asking questions in the question box, we get a chance to get them answered. So tell me this. I'm going to actually ask a more CCS oriented question. I know you said you're inspired by Project Runway, but what made you apply to CCS? Did you look at other art schools?
I had a friend that went to the summer camp and she had talked about how much she liked it. And a lot of it was my parents wanted me to stay in Michigan. So, but I ended up loving CCS, so it worked out. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of just looking at a bunch of different schools and like I said, my friend went to the summer camp, which would have been in 2004, and,
Oh my
had such a good experience. So I took my chances, and I think that's the only art school I applied to. So,
and you didn't, correct me if I'm wrong on my memory, you mentored the summer program one year, right?
yeah, we did. I think it was summer 2007 together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a leader, so that wasn't the greatest fit for me, but it was fun.
I'm sure there are students who were inspired by you nonetheless, regardless
Hopefully.
of how much of a leader you feel. Yeah. And clearly you're a leader because you're leading it in your own company right now.
Well, 10 years later, yeah, I'm a little more comfortable.
And I forgot that we were there at the same time in the summer. I've been doing things with CCS so long that my stuff blends together. I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
was I a student? Were you a student? Were we working together? Like,
yeah, we definitely worked, I think it was 2007, with Mickey and Mike.
Lee
Yep.
DeVito, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, now it's floating back in. I gotta hunt some of them down, see what they're up to these days. Yeah. Awesome. All right, last question from me.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to get an imaginary time machine and go back and visit your high school self, all excited about the future, what advice would you give yourself about pursuing your creative path?
I would say don't worry about it too much, because you're going to be a totally different person in 10 years. And I subscribe a lot to the fake it till you make it mindset, because the older I get, the more I realize that nobody knows what they're doing. So just pretend that you know what you're doing and hopefully it'll work out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was definitely nervous about, I remember, like I said, I only applied to CCS. So that amount of time when I was waiting to hear if I got in was nerve wracking, because I was like, well, if I don't get in, then kind of screwed. So I think just believing in myself more. Mm-hmm. And I think Cassandra said the same thing. Like that's a theme. When you're 16, 17, you're, confidence isn't there yet. But I think that's powerful, because if you are super confident and have it all figured out, then what else do you have to learn? So, I would just tell myself, just do what you're doing and trust that it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. You're going to find your path. And, I had no idea how much the internet would shape the economy and everything, like we had MySpace in high school, that was it. And now people's whole careers are based off of just making stuff at home. So if I was allowed to tell my past self about the future and how easy it would be to be an artist, not easy. It's still hard. With the internet comes the challenges of having your work stolen and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever had that happen?
Oh, I'm dealing with it right now.
No.
With the Chance the Snapper stuff that I was telling you about, a bunch of these companies just stole it, traced it, took my name off of my little name logo, and it's all like, I tried tracking down the domain names and everything, and everyone's like, no, we don't know what to do about it, sorry. And like the phone numbers are fake, the emails bounce back. So I went back this past week and put big copyrights all over all of my images. And that's still not going to stop people, but at least, like the whole issue of reposting stuff on Pinterest and stuff, and people don't credit the artist. My name's on the picture, so
yeah, your signature.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll stop it a little more. But yeah, that's a thing.
I'm sorry to hear that that's happening.
Yeah, but it comes, once you start getting bigger, big corporations start doing it, like Zara and H&M, Forever 21 do it. And they're basically like, well, you're too small to fight us, so sorry, and they just do it anyway. So I'm at least grateful that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also at the same time that it sucks, it's a sign like not only the visual that you created is appealing to people, but the concept that that you put together is something that people, I hate when people say it, but they say, copying or stealing is one of the higher forms of flattery when it comes to artwork. So it's like, you got some great content that.
Please don't make money off of me.
You say what? I know.
Please don't make money off of me. It's mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just how it is. So.
Yeah. Man. All right. Well, let's see if there are. Oh, and there was one thing I wanted to add too before we move on to the questions. You said fake it till you make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to add to that, I heard this at an event not too long ago, and it stuck with me because my mom was a big fake it till you make it. Everybody feels like imposters, and then someone said faith it till you make it, have faith in yourself.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's the same principle.
It is, because you're putting faith in yourself that if you just keep doing it, eventually you'll know what you're doing.
Yep.
I actually did a whole series about imposter syndrome on my blog.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because that's something. I interviewed a few different people about, it affects everyone. It doesn't matter how successful or talented you are, and that goes into my whole point about faking it. Everyone is faking it in a good way.
The best, right? We're all doing the best with what we have.
Yeah.
Always assume other people have more than we do or know more than we do. But
yeah.
Always...
Absolutely.
All right, folks. So this is the time where you can ask this amazing illustration guru. Even though you faked it till you make it, you're clearly a guru. People are stealing your work. You're working for yourself. You have amazing stuff that's shareable all over the world. You have stuff on shelves and stores that people can look at and say, oh, Maria made that, right? So she's currently a guru. This is your chance to have your questions answered. So I'm going to see if anybody has submitted any questions in the Q&A box here on Instagram. I know last time I was like, are there any questions? And there weren't any. And then as soon as I was like, all right, well, we're going to end. Then everybody was just like, questions. I mean, I think that's another thing, in addition to imposter syndrome. There's no such thing as a stupid question. We all are curious, Never be the first person to ask. But let's see. There we go. Amazing question. So, do you think it's hard to get noticed on social media? That's a good question. As a creative person, do you think it's harder nowadays to get noticed?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't, it changes so much, 10 years ago, I think I had Instagram on my iPod Touch. I didn't even have an iPhone yet. And it, that was the early days of when it was just sharing photos of what you were up to. So in the past 5 years though, especially since leaving my job and trying to build my page, it's very hard. And it's hard not to tie the number of people following you to your worth, because that really doesn't matter. But it's hard not to tie it together because social media is so dependent on getting work now. The amount of clients that have reached out and been like, hey, I saw you on Instagram. So it is hard. And another reason it's hard, like I said, is because people will repost and share without tagging you.
Yeah.
So then that you don't get that reference or that link back. But
people know your work, but they don't know that it's yours. So that makes it more difficult to get your stuff out there.
Yeah, and just, in the past few years, social media has completely changed where influencers are making money to work with companies and promote stuff. And it's just, there's no constant. The landscape is always changing. There's no real, I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. So yes, it's harder because it's a different game every month.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, I think about just, I'm sorry.
sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm just thinking about just how things have changed shortly in between March of this year when the
Yeah.
pandemic started and now, like there's still,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But I think the only thing that you can do, which is what I'm trying to do, is just stay true to myself and keep up the work and keep it consistent, and everything will fall into place the way it will. So I don't necessarily believe in like trying to do all these different strategies to get noticed. It's just like keep your head down and just do your thing, and your work will speak for itself. And as much as it sucks that it's going to take a long time, eventually it'll catch on. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I wish I had a better answer.
I feel like that's an amazing answer. I feel like honest answers are the best. Okay, this person
Right.
has way more questions and I love it.
It's my sister.
Oh, hi sis.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks for sending in amazing questions.
But working digitally really helps because it enables me to get stuff out fast. If I was a more traditional artist, it would be harder. But because I work on my iPad, and that's another thing, I got my iPad a year and a half ago, and that's where my entire portfolio comes from, is from this past year and a half of working on my iPad. Like, it's changed everything. So it's important to find your tools. So I will say
Do you draw every day?
Pretty much. I have a little more client work coming in now, but I draw a lot for my Instagram, and that goes back to what we were talking about before of staying active on Instagram helps, because the algorithm hates inactivity. So if I'm not uploading, my stuff gets buried. So it's kind of a necessary thing of adding stuff all the time and trying to stay up there so that I don't get lost.
Lost in the sauce.
Yep.
Well, if folks want to go and see Maria's amazing work, please follow. Is it okay to share I shared your Instagram, but
yes, please.
do you want people to, do you prefer that people go and follow your studio or you as a personal artist?
Both.
Both. Okay. So make sure to go follow, and I'll link, because I'm going to save this to IGTV. So I'll add the Instagram handles to it, but make sure to go follow at Maria Filar and Five Eye Studio, because if you're anything like me, you're going to want to repost every single thing that she posts. Oh, look at that.
I made this for another IG live I did a couple months ago, so figured I would share it again.
That's awesome. If I ever see that you're doing some, I'll make sure to promote them too, because I want students to be able to continue to follow you and your work, because it's just awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, I post regularly, so follow along. I have things to say about things. It's very clear, my stance on things.
Important things to say.
Exactly.
And the right stance. Not that there's a right and wrong.
No, yes there is. Yes, there is.
Alrighty, so it looks like those are all of our questions for today. Before we hop off, is there anything else you want to share with students who are tuning in?
Just keep going. If you love making art, you can make it happen. Just keep going.
Oh, see, now I see. See, this always happens. As soon as I'm like, all right, we're going to have then I have a question come in. Here's a great question.
I'm happy to answer.
Have you had any collaborations with any other CCS alumni?
I mean, collaborations. I probably have, and I'm like forgetting. That's embarrassing. I mean, I've helped my best friend Jillian with her shows. Like, I've helped her paint murals, and prep paintings for her shows. That's not really what they're asking though.
I mean, that's collaboration though. You're still
Yeah.
connected with people from the CCS community.
Yeah, but as far as like something that we came out with together. Oh, actually, when I was in CCS, me and a bunch of my illustration friends did this thing called the hallway show, where every week we would pick a person, usually a celebrity, to draw, and we would all do our take of their portrait and then post it on the wall. And actually, I think today we started a new group, Instagram, where we're gonna bring it back on Instagram.
Oh, so that's fun.
Follow the hallway show.
What's it? It's just at the hallway show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just started it today, so there's nothing up yet, but everyone will submit their portraits for the week, and then every week the subject will change. But like, some of them were so funny. It was like the highlight of my week at CCS, so I'm really excited that we're starting it back up.
How many people are participating in it?
So far, it's just the original group, so maybe like 6 or 7. I don't even, it's small, but we'd love for more people to join in, so.
All right.
I'm excited.
The hallway project?
The hallway show.
The hallway show. The hallway show.
Yeah.
I have to write it down. Remember, it's going to forget. All right. So make sure you're following at Maria Filar, at 5 Eye Studio, and at the hallway show. I feel like I need a theme song for it. The hallway show.
There's so many things.
I love it. Maria, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thanks so much for having me do this.
Yes. So I'm going to save this to my IG Live, my IGTV for folks who want to watch it forever until the future. And then it'll also be on the CCS Admissions YouTube. So I'll send the links out to folks who want to check it out.
Yeah, I'll make sure to add it to my profile links too, so people can watch.
Thanks for sharing your journey and your insights and your amazing art with
Thank you so much.
With these students in the world.
You can do it, everybody.
For me.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.